Hey there, you. Yes, you, viewer. Ever wondered what the secret to my drawings were? It's in here. All the tools I use in my art bin. I'll let you know the secret to my drawings. And now, to you, and only you, I reveal the truth. Okay, everybody, thank you for joining me for another episode of my crazy channel show. Today, I'm going to open up my art bin so you guys can see what I use for my portraits, for my drawings, or for anything that I do artistically, actually. So, let's get going with this guy right here. This is my art bin. As you see at the top, there's really nothing to the compartment there, but I really don't use it. So, still a lot of space left in there for more art supplies, which I will be filling up very soon. But you know what? Let's start with the thing that I mainly use for my portraits, which is the Prismacolor Premier color pencils. Now, in there, of course, there's the Prismacolor Premier watercolor, water-soluble color pencils, which are pretty cool. It's like using watercolor, but only in a color pencil. It gives you more control in terms of the area that you're working on in watercolor. Because sometimes, if you don't know watercolor, you can actually just get out of control with the area. But the color pencil kind of colors the area, and then you can add water to add more control to the paint and how it's distributed on the in the area. So, okay, so as you can see, these are all my color pencils. This is the 132 box. It came all nicely formatted in layers, and they had these little plastic dividers, but I didn't want to deal with all that, so I just kind of dumped them all in here. Every time I start a portrait, or before I start a portrait, I kind of look at the colors and figure out which colors I need, and then just put those onto the table there. And now this is a really cool and interesting thing right here. This is one of my most important tools. It's the color pencil extender. See this right here? And what this is when the color pencil gets short like this. Right, the extender is this little cool gadget that you can put the color pencil in, snap it right on there, and it becomes like a long color pencil, so you don't have to try to color in your portrait or your drawing these little stubs. But you actually get to have an extended, or the feel of an extended pencil, and get more control. So this is really cool. I think I need like maybe 2 or 3 more of these. I only have 1 of these, but I should probably get a couple more. So that's actually the bread and butter of, put that over there, of my drawing. Okay, and now I'm gonna open up the secret stash. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay, well, let's start with this. I got it from back there. Now, this is Sumi ink. Funny thing about this particular bottle is I actually have had this for about, I would say upwards of 20 years. It still has a ton of ink left in it. I inked so many things with this. I inked my comic book Samurai Guard with it, and this is the blackest ink I have ever worked with. It's very opaque, very thick, and I still have a ton of it left. because I was always able to even water it down a little bit, add more water to extend it, and it always just stayed so very black. So Sumi ink, if you're ever gonna do anything that you want to stay black, use Sumi ink with brush. Don't use it with marker though. But if you are doing a piece that you just want to do with a wash on black and white, Sumi ink is the way to go. So definitely use that. Okay. Now let's start with the drawing pads here. I don't really use this for my portraits. I don't know why the paper is a little too flimsy. It's 135 pounds. Maybe because of the brand, this doesn't feel as sturdy as this one. And this is the Strathmore Bristol, which is the 100-pound vellum surface, and it has a little bit of a tooth to it. It's a little bit more toothy than this is a 300 series. It's a little bit more toothy, so I'm able to add a lot of layers to my portraits. And the secret to having good realistic portraits is lots of layers of color and so on. But yeah, this is the one that I do use, either in the 9x12 version or also in the 11x14, even in the 14x17, depending on how large I want the portrait to be. So that's what I use to do all the portraits. Okay, and I do also have this right here, pastels. Now I use pastels and Conte crayons to lay down a lot of the wide areas of shadow. It does take less time to do a portrait when I lay down shadows with pastels or Conte crayons. So that's something I kind of discovered, because usually what I would do was just lay down shadows with layers of color pencil, but I started doing it with pastels or Conte crayons, and it actually worked out a lot better for me in terms of the time. And for me, especially when drawing people of color, it actually makes the drawing look better than just doing it with color pencils. So that's one. And again, more color pencils. This is pastel pencils, and basically it's pastels with the feel and the control over a pencil. So if you don't want the pastels on your hand, and you have one of those blending stubs, then this is definitely something that you should use, because it gives you the control of a regular pencil in terms of using the pastel. I don't use these very much for my portraits, but I do use them for other things. But this is definitely something that you want to have if you're going to be doing portraits. This along with some stubs. So, 24 pastel pencils. Okay. Let's just flail these across the... it's like candy. Okay, now this is from Artist Loft. For me, the brand really isn't important. If I can get colors in any from any brand that works well, then I can use it. But this is oil paints. I don't usually do a lot of oil paints on my channel, but I am getting better with oil paints and experimenting more with them and doing a lot more of them off the channel. But the Artist Loft oil paints are very inexpensive, but they do actually have a great finish and a great feel to it, especially for people who are beginning oil paints and you don't want to spend a whole ton of money on oil paints. Then Artist Loft oil paints are very inexpensive, and they're actually pretty good quality for the money. So I don't know, I think I may have paid, I can't remember correctly, for like a dozen of these. I think I may have paid like $6 or $7. Don't quote me on that though. I can't remember, but I bought them from from Michaels. So put those back there, so I don't have a lot of work to do when I'm done. And out of the other side here is, this is also from the Artist Loft. These are acrylic paints. I don't do much acrylic painting, sir. But I do use the acrylic paints for some touch-ups on portraits, in terms of like little areas around the eyes that require light reflection or something like that. I would probably like use the white because it is very opaque. But as a medium, I don't really use acrylic paints a lot. When I was younger, I used them a lot. I think I used them more than I used anything else, believe it or not. But now it's not so much something that I go to. My go-to is usually either the color pencils, the oil paints, or the inks. But there are some good reasons to use the acrylics for me. But these days, it's not my go-to thing. But again, at Michaels, these were very inexpensive, and I think I paid $5 for the whole enchilada. So those work out. And of course, now this is my trusty electric eraser. Now this is like an eraser on steroids. Basically what it is an engine that kind of like spins this eraser piece right here, and it spins it so fast that it goes deep into the paper and erases anything that's on the surface. So I've used these for a lot of great things on my portraits, even correcting mistakes. These are really great for correcting mistakes on portraits. Like if you do an area so dark that it can't be covered with light color pencils. So you can basically just erase it with this, and then just go over it with the same color tones, similar to the area that the mistake was around, and it'll cover it like it was never there. So this thing has saved my butt so many times, it's not even funny. I'm going to put that there. And of course I have in front here a ton of brushes, because like I said, I'm doing all kinds of crazy things now with brushes. But this big old number 2 huge brush right here is something that I use for when I'm doing the portraits and the color pencil parts come off and things like that. It's very easy to just brush them off with this, so that I don't spend time brushing them off with my hand. Because if I brush it off with my hand is so heavy it might cause the color pencil pieces to cause smudges on the portrait. So I usually just take a nice brush. This is a very soft brush, and just kind of brush it off. It's really cool. And with these other brushes, now that I'm getting into face painting and everything else, these brushes are definitely invaluable. So a lot of these brushes are mostly from my pen and ink days. There's a lot of small brushes on here, but I enjoy using these also for my oil paintings and for definitely watercolor. So yeah, those are cool. Let me put those back where they belong. Put them back where they belong. All right, level 2. Oh boy. All right, level 2 has, let me see what I got here. What I got here. I knew that you guys were hiding around here somewhere. Or knew it. You guys were hiding. Chilling in the cut. Okay, these are the Artist Loft watercolor paints. Over here chilling in the cut. I gotta tell you guys, if you don't have an ARTBIN, this is like the best. Like my son and his mom got together and got this for me, and this was like the best, man. This was like the best present I think I ever got, because my art supplies were like all over the place. And then they got me this, and it was like, pow! I just fell in love with this thing. So if you don't have an ARTBIN, you really need to get one. And 100%, I swear, I am not like being paid by ARTBIN or whatever to tell you this, but this is definitely one of the best. Well, since it was a gift, it was the best non-investment I ever made. So, okay, so here we go now. I got this bunch of. This is the watercolor. Now, how many of this? I got a ton of these. I remember I bought a whole bunch of these because Michael's was having a sale, and I just went nuts. And I think, again, I didn't even pay a lot for these. I think I paid like $6 or something for all of these, because they were having like this crazy sale. And I figured that, okay, if I'm gonna go to the sale, I'm gonna buy everything. I think I got the acrylics and also the oil paints at that same sale, because they were just so cheap. I was like, I'm gonna just buy everything in one shot. Well, I also wanted to fill up my ARTBIN. But again, I don't usually use these for my my portraits, but my illustrations I use these for, like Tokyo Ghoul illustration that you guys see on the channel. I use this for that, and other things as well. I don't think I use these for the Guyver illustration. I used marker, and I used watercolor marker and marker for those, but not watercolor paint for the Guyver. But I'll get to the watercolor markers later. But these were really cool. They're also Artist Loft. Again, I'm not paid or sponsored by Artist Loft. I just really like the product. And not only do I like the product, it's very inexpensive of a product, but there's still quality that comes out of it. So definitely, I'm gonna put these over on this side because I have to figure out how to put them back in there later on. More colors. All right, so we have here. Oh, right here. Let me not forget. This is something that I'm also experimenting with, and one day I'm gonna do a versus with. This is watercolor. One second. See there. This is watercolor. Water mixable oil paints. Water mixable oil paints. It's something that I'm experimenting with. That's why I only have the black. But if I can use this and have a ton of paints that I can use, oil-based paints, and only mix them with water, that would be awesome. It would save me having to deal with the thinners and things like that, which can smell funny and also be a little toxic. Okay, but if I can just use these as water, that would be really cool. And I also have something to thin these down, which is the water mixable oil. And what it does is it basically stretches the water mixable oil colors. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna try these out a little bit more and see how that works out. But I think the last time I did this was I did like a gorilla or something like that on Bristol board. I think that was the first and last time I did a test with that, and it came out really well. It was a quick drawing. Just wanted to see what the feel was like. And on Bristol board, this didn't take long to dry. It took maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes to dry. But it's so funny. I did a test on canvas as well. I think I tried to draw like a tiger or something on canvas, and it took like 5 days to dry. So, so the surface you're working on definitely makes a difference. All right, let's go into the mid compartment here. All right, let's see what we got here in the mid compartment. In Midgard, which is the Earth, or Middle Earth, which would be Earth, depending on what if you're watching Lord of the Rings or reading a Thor comic book. All right. Okay, here we go. All right, now these white little thingies Rory. My Australian accent. These things Rory. These are like the Pigma pens. I can't say they're a cheap version of Pigma pens. I got these from. I went to the New York City Comic Con, and there was this company there selling these Le Pen. But they actually work really well. They're just like Pigma pens, but for me, I don't know. To be honest with you, I like these a lot better. So I looked them up online, and I haven't been able to find them at any art store, but you can order them online from this company called Marvi, like Marvi Uchida or something or other. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but they're a Japanese company, but they also have a base in Torrance, California. But as you can see, this has different point nibs, and I've really enjoyed working with these. I've used these a lot for a lot of my pen and ink drawings, of course, and a lot of my illustrations. Of course, I don't use these for any of the portraits unless it's to sign my name at the end of each portrait. But other than that, these do come in handy for like my comic book drawings, my comic book type drawings. And I really like them. I like them better than Pigma, which I have used before. So I can definitely make the comparison, and I would say that these are better than Pigma. So I'm gonna try to get a few more of those. Of course, they come in different sizes. All right. Okay. Don't judge me. This is Artist Loft again. All right, and no, they're not Copic markers, but they look like Copic markers only, and they work like Copic markers. They're awesome. These are a lot of, as you can tell, there are a lot of flesh tones right here. Again, don't use this for my larger portraits, but I do use them for my smaller portraits to cover large skin tone areas. I've actually used just like this one and this one to just cover a base for the skin, and then work outward like negative space with the color pencils to achieve a realistic looking portrait. But that was one of the 5x5 ones. But this is a skin tone pack that came. I think this cost, if I remember correctly, it cost $20, and it's 6 of them. The only drawback is that they're not refillable, but they do have a broad nib, and they also have a more finer nib on both sides. But they aren't refillable, so once I'm done with them, gotta toss them. But I'm gonna try to get the Copic markers. They're mad expensive, so I'm still saving up. not these are not mad expensive. The Copic markers are mad expensive, so I'm saving up for those to get like the huge 72 pack and then just go in. You know what I mean? All right, so I think it's like $375 for the 72 pack Copic markers. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna still wait on those and see how that. But if any of you guys want to buy me a set of Copic markers out there, feel free. I won't hate you at all. All right. So, but this is from Artist Loft, and they're alcohol-based markers. So. And now, okay, so these are just like dividers for the compartments in my ARTBIN. So that's pretty cool. And that's right. Now here's the thing. A lot of people use the mechanical pencils and these special drafting pencils to do their drawings. Now this actually is also not bad. I haven't used this in a while, but this is a pretty good pencil. It's like one of my favorite non-number 2 pencils to use. The other thing is, I am a guy, I don't know if it's because I've always used them, whatever, but the number 2 pencil is my favorite thing to draw with. I sharpen it, and it just feels so good in my hand. I don't know, I have a lot of control. I don't know, I just feel like I can get a better illustration from using these number 2 pencils. So, like most of my general illustrations, I always start out using pencils. I don't use the mechanical pencils because I do have a heavy hand and the points break, man. And so, because they're so thin, like the 0.5, they break. So when I was much younger, when I was a kid, I thought it was cool because everybody was using mechanical pencils. And I'm like, oh wow, this is cool. But I didn't also have readily a sharpener where I can just stick these in and sharpen it. So mechanical pencils were a little handy because I didn't have to always sharpen them. But now with even if I have to travel, I'd rather just use the number 2 pencils, and so this way I feel more control, and that's just me. Everybody else has their own thing, but I like using the mechanical pencils. And for my black and white portraits, of course, I use the ebony pencils. These are awesome if you're doing black and white portraits. These are super awesome. So, and one of the other pencils here that you see right here. Now, this is not so much a pencil as it is a colorless blender for color pencils. And this, my friend, is the bread and butter of realistic skin tones. The bread and butter. This little thing right here, this is what it all counts on. And I'll tell you why. All right, there's a lot of layers. You put a lot of layers on your portrait, on your drawing, and you build and you build and you build. And the skin starts to look more realistic as you build and you build and you build. And now, once you start, what this does, this blends all the layers together, right? And it kind of blends them and flattens them. And it does affect the tooth of the paper, because once you blend it, you lose the tooth. So you can't really put more color pencil or much more color pencil on top of the blending. But that's why you have to make sure that before you blend or before you varnish, that you have all the colors and all the layers that you need. But this thing right here, once this blends all your skin tones and your skin colors and your skin layers together, it just takes the realism to like the next level. So, and if you look closely, basically it's just a pencil with little, like it's like a sandpaper pencil basically, because it's not lead or graphite in there, but it's a rough kind of I don't know what it is that's in there, but it's rough. It has little pebbles in it, I guess, and that of course breaks down and creates a smooth look. But it's like having a sandpaper in a pencil is basically what that is, and that's why once you kind of varnish your portrait with this, you lose the tooth of it. So you have to make sure that you already have all your layers down there. And of course, this is my eraser. Other than my mechanical eraser, this is one of the erasers I use for my pencils. It's really cool. Again, it's like a pencil, so it gives me a lot of control. And I like this eraser, and it comes with refillable little eraser pieces. But I've used up all the refillables, so I have to go and buy more. But you can refill it. Okay, I think this is a Stadler. brand, but you can get these at Staples if you want. Can't remember how much I paid for those. And this is actually my son's, because I went to an art store a few weeks ago and I was buying something and he just felt like he needed to get something too. Just don't take a kid to an art store, because if you're buying yourself something, you gotta buy them something too. It's like you have to buy them something, or else it's like cruel and unusual punishment. It's like taking a kid to Toys R Us and then walking out without buying them anything. So I bought him this because he said he wanted to try, like, you know, inking his little drawings with it. But I kind of used it myself, and it's not bad. It's basically a pen that turns into a brush. So once you basically click it open and let the ink flow in, it's a brush nib right there. Let me see if I can get something here to show you guys. It's a brush nib, and the ink is in here, and it's also refillable ink. And then you can just, you know, get like a brush effect. It's like having a brush that doesn't run out of ink. Low, do some tiger stripes right there. This is really cool. Low, skinny, yeah, right. So yeah, this is not bad. It's called it's a Pentel color brush from Pentel. So I don't really do anything with it, but I'm probably just gonna give my kid back this thing, and I'm actually gonna probably just go and get a black one, which would probably work better for me. And even if they have watercolor ones, I'll look into it and see if they have watercolor ones. That would also work. But I think I'm gonna go back to that same art store and get a black one. But this one I'll probably give to my kid. Okay. And that. And here's a man that needs no introduction. The X-Acto blade. Now this is really great for hair. I'm still working on how it's great for hair. like runaway strands of hair on this is pretty good for. But within the hair, not outside the hair, because then there's this white space. But runaway strands of hair, to just kind of use the paper for that, and this can be using like a grazing tool to make the hair look like it's little white runaway strands. This is pretty good. And also, if I do make a mistake on the portrait, another way, if their mechanical eraser can't really get deep enough, another way is to take an X-Acto blade and gently just scrape off the mistake. And I mean, it works like butter. It works like butter. All right, so yeah, it's easy, and then you can just use your brush to just brush it off. So that's one way to get rid of mistakes when you're doing a color pencil portrait and you do a little nick or mistake or whatever. Just you can take your X-Acto blade and just brush the mistake off. Now, not so much using the exact edge, but just kind of put it flat on the mistake and it'll brush it off. Okay. All right, here we go. This is what I was talking about before. These are called Conte crayons. All right, and basically, they say they're not charcoal, but it's basically charcoal in a pencil. But these are these are quality. I've heard about these since I was in high school. Conte crayons. Now, I've never been able to get them in any other colors but the browns and the black and the white. This white here, as you can see, the tip broke off, but there's black, there's light brown, dark brown, and they are great for laying down large areas of pigment on a drawing, especially of a person of color. I did also use this for the Stanley drawing. The particular drawing that I used had some areas that required like a darker brown or whatever. So I laid down some line work with the I think the light brown on the Stanley drawing, which also helped it blend very smoothly. So these definitely 100% are worth investing in. They are a little expensive. I think one of these costs like maybe $6 or $7. But when you're doing portraits and you're looking for realistic skin tones, laying these down, laying the foundation with these for shadows and things like that. I also use this for the picture of the girl who is my neighbor. I think that was the first time I basically used them, and I realized how useful they were and how much, how realistic it made the skin look. So then I just started using them for people, mostly for people of color. Using them mostly for people of color because they do bring out a nice glow. Even before you go in with the color pencil, you start to just see this glow in the skin of like a black person or a Middle Eastern person, and it really does make the difference 100%. Those away. Okay, now these are one of my favorite. Now this stuff, of course, I have them all rubber band, all OCD style. But these are, whoa, dude. These are watercolor markers. Okay. Now I'll tell you a little story about these watercolor markers. When I first got these, okay, hold on a second. When I first got these, I thought they were like a waste of money. I just realized I bought them. I was like, I don't even know how to like start off with this. Like, how am I going to use these? So I gathered them all up in a bag, and my main thing by gathering them all in a bag was to find a sucker to give them all away to. And which was crazy because, again, I got these from Michael's and their artist loft again, and they were having a sale. And these I paid, I think there were 40 of them in there, and I paid $24. Or was there 24 and I paid $40? I don't know. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I think there's 40 of them in here, and I paid like $30 for them. And I felt like I wasted my money with these things until I did the drawing of the Guyver with this. So I'm like, okay, I bought this book from New York Comic Con, and it was a journal. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna just do this picture of the Guyver in here, and then I'm just gonna use the watercolor pencils because I have nothing to lose. So what? But then when I used it for that, I realized that the most effective thing about these markers is the fact that you need to wait for it, add water. You're welcome. You're welcome. No need to thank me. You're welcome. You're welcome. And that is the magic of these things. Hold on a second. Get this right here. That is the magic of these things, is that you put them down, right? You lay down color, and then you add water to blend the color. And it's amazing. So I did that with the drawing, and the drawing came out really good. So now these are like I almost gave these away. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and of course, again, I have them all rubber band up OCD style, all the greens together, the reds, the yellows and dark greens. Oh, these are the blues, not greens. Hey, and these are all the skin tones. These are all the black and grays, and this is all the pink, purple, and lavenders. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Look at how beautiful they look. All right, what else do I have here? Okay, brushes again. Me and my OCD styled OCD style rubber bands. I don't know. That's crazy. I'm sure my mom wished when I was a teenager that I was such a neat freak. Now, of course, as I'm older, all my art supplies, forget I treat them like royalty. You know, because they're important. All right, and this is the sharpener to the pencil I showed you earlier. And basically, this is you put the lead in here, not lead, graphite. They haven't used the lead since 1956 in pencils because they just used to kill people. So it's basically what they use now is graphite. Put it in there, and how you sharpen it is just by spinning it around. So yeah, see, that's how I knew it was Stadler. Yeah, it was Stadler's on the pencil. But this was a great invention, and the person who invented it is probably making a ton of money off of artists because we love using this one. It's the closest thing to using a regular number 2 pencil, only it doesn't have the eraser. Wait a minute, does it? No, it doesn't. Does it? No, it doesn't. No, what is that? What is that in the back there? It's not even an eraser. They chipped this, bro. I've never taken that off. in like the 20 years, 30 years that I've ever used this thing, I've never taken the back off. And now I realize there's like nothing back there but like the hole to put the lead in. That's crazy. Okay. Alright. And of course, again, for the whites of their eyes, when I'm doing portraits, I always use this is calligraphy ink. Yeah, basically I just use that. It adds a lot of, I mean, those little white dots in the eyes, it adds a nice little glow to them. So I needed something really, really opaque, and the calligraphy ink works very well. So, and it also blends very well when you use it with water, so you're good to go. And, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Boom! Black markers from Staples. There we go. Duramark. All right, this is also with my illustrations. I can just cover a large black area with this, and also because of how the nib looks, I use it for my calligraphy. I also study calligraphy. I have a whole bunch of calligraphy books. I also study calligraphy. Hey man, I'm a draw ninja, and that means you want to be a master of all mediums. So you have to just go in, you know what I mean? And I love art, and I love sharing, my art with people. And let me see, one last thing that I have in here, which says, you see the calligraphy pens, but it's not only calligraphy pens, but that's what I got in here. Yeah, it's not really calligraphy pens. Basically, all the things that are in here, let me get these out, have those kind of, there we go, slanted nibs. Whereas I can get broad strokes with them, and also things that look like they're calligraphy strokes. That, 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 and that, and that, and that, and like that, and like that, and like that. I don't know what that is. That's probably Kryptonian, I think. But it's a great way to practice. I remember using these markers to just practice my calligraphy strokes, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and just how they showed you to do the strokes. Yep, still got a ways to go, as you can see, but you get the idea. And like I said, you don't have to really buy expensive calligraphy pens when you're doing calligraphy. Just a marker that has the slanted edges is a great way to just start your calligraphy lessons. And later on, you can, practice with pens and everything. But for me, I really don't need all the very expensive pens to get the effect. I just need Even like one like this. See how this looks? This is crazy. And this is calligraphy from Marvy, the same company that bought you a pen. Okay. They have the calligraphy pen, and it has basically like the tip like a calligraphy brush. So you can definitely just use it to do the same kind of exercise. Look at that. That is awesome. You may not even need those expensive calligraphy pens. Like if you have this, then you're good to go. Look at that. All right. So these are really cool. I really like calligraphy. Is very therapeutic and relaxing. Like even in practice, when you're practicing your line strokes, long line strokes, your small line strokes, your serifs, that sort of thing. And this is one of those thinner ones. It's really thin. It's very, very therapeutic. I mean, I practice lines and lines and lines and lines of strokes to get it right, and I still suck. So I have a lot more to go. Again, more calligraphy pens. I did invest in a lot of these calligraphy pens because I really did want to learn calligraphy, and I do want to learn calligraphy, and I really enjoy it. One of my friends, his name is Rammer, R-A-M-M-E-R. You can check him out on Instagram. His calligraphy is out of this world, bruh. I mean, crazy. I met him at a convention where, because I'm a member of the Artist Guild, or was it Fine Artist Guild? Or no, not Fine Artist Guild. The CAG, which is the Comic Artist Guild. That's right. Fine Artist Guild would be something else that we don't even want to match it. So CAG was the Comics Artist Guild, and I met him at one of their meetings, and like I saw his calligraphy work, and forget it, it was amazing. It blew me away. It inspired me to want to do calligraphy. So, check him out on Instagram. I don't think he has a YouTube channel, but I know he has Instagram, and his name is Rammer, R-A-M-M-E-R, or R-A-M-M-A-R. Check both. Tell him drawninjakc sent you. But he doesn't even know I'm giving him the shout out, so he might be a little surprised. But yeah, I definitely always enjoy watching his artwork, and then you will too, because he's got a ton of great stuff on there. I guess another calligraphy pen. Oh, yeah. Here's a red one. Here we go. Make a little red circle. All right. Put that back in the box. Jack in the box. Put this jack back in the box. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I think that ends the tour. Hope you guys really enjoyed that. I really did enjoy going through my ARTBIN. As you can see there, I think I've destroyed it already. There's nothing left at the bottom, so it's like kind of tilting over. Everything else is on the other side. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really did enjoy showing you all my secret tools of the ninja trade. Ding! No, ninjas don't shoot. They have swords. Secret tools of the ninja trade. Ding! Anyway, guys, it also made me realize that I really have too much art supplies. There is no such thing. What am I talking about? I really realized that I need more art supplies. Not because I need them, but because I want them. And if you want something, you gotta go after it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Draw Ninja Casey out. Wow!